no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Senior Citizen Podcast. Today we have a little bit of a different episode because this is not a band joining us, even though it would be a really cool, like, Freaky Friday type band. But we have the Record Underground. Your new favorite music magazine.
Yes, your favorite music magazine in South Florida specifically. Pitchfork, get out of town. Legally, I don't know if I can say that. Oh no!
Oh man.
That is defamation. Anyways, they're great.
All right, guys. I want to hear a little bit. I've been supporting this project since day one. I met Juana a while back. I was super excited about it because a lot of the compliments that we get about this show has to deal with giving that platform to artists in the local scene. And I love that you guys are going out of your way to do the same thing in other forms of media because you have more bandwidth. So tell me a little bit how it got started so that the people know the origin story, the lore behind the Record Underground.
Okay, so hello, I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of the Record Underground, Juana Moya, and super quick. This is Angie Iglesias, this is my managing editor, and this is Erin Barish, who is the submissions editor. And so I used to write for a magazine based in New York. It's called Grain of Salt. None of this would happen without Grain of Salt. Love them so much. And then I decided I wanted to produce their first sit-down in-person interview with a musician. And I've been doing a couple of artist interviews already, and that's how I got in touch with Angie, because I needed a crew for that project, and I was like, we both write for Grain of Salt. I feel like this is a person I can trust, right? And so we did this whole project, and then Angie told me about how cool it would be to have a compendium of sorts of local Florida bands. And I was like, that's a really good idea. And then we didn't talk for 2 years.
Yeah. The
pandemic happened, such and such. But I really had a good time hanging out with you and doing that initiative.
Same.
We interviewed Phoenix James, which is very cool, local artist who went to my high school. And then I started going to college and I met Erin, who was in a lot of my classes, and we would just talk, we were in the little grupitos of the class. We were teachers' pets, fully, and just always paying attention, actually, sir, I think this relates to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in such and such way, and we would just have a blast. And then I found her again at the Fall Out Boy concert in West Palm, and I was like, wait a minute.
I still have FOMO from not going to that
Oh
concert,
my god,
It was amazing.
It was really good.
It was so good.
I know.
We were talking about all right, we'll put it at that. Yeah. And then I had already started developing this magazine project, and I was like, I already know Erin's work ethic, and obviously she's clearly interested in this sort of lifestyle and the bands and all of that stuff. So I was like, hey, let's just get these two brilliant minds together and make a magazine where we could support the local, DIY music space and just really give them a platform to do a lot more things. Yes, I don't know if
the most beautiful
that's the most TLDR way I've ever put it, because the other day I was explaining this to somebody and it took way longer.
No, that was good.
Thank you. I try.
I was gonna say, anybody want to add anything else, but I think that covered it basically.
Yeah.
And I love hearing how long it took to put together, because I think people need to realize that projects like these, they don't just come up from one day to another. There is so much that goes behind it. And it's just passion driven, because at the end of the day, you don't get a bi-weekly paycheck for putting this together.
No, we do not.
You actually lost money putting this together.
Yes. Can I give you a fun fact?
Yes.
On the day that I decided that I woke up, got out of bed, and I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen, was also the day that I got fired from my last job. Yeah. So truly, I was like, well, I guess I have to now. I guess it has to happen. I got nothing else going for me. So, yeah.
I think it's a sign from the universe whenever something like that happens. At first, oh, bummer, okay, I lost my job. First of all, it probably wasn't even your dream job. It was just kind of oh shit, now I don't have money. You weren't devastated,
and I
right?
was graduating college at the same time, so truly a lot of stuff going
you were
on.
just forced by the universe to make a change. I love all the branding for the Record Underground. I could see the love going into it.
Thank you. You should have seen our early meetings where we all made Pinterest boards. And actually, they had the idea set packed. I like originally went for like a much more whimsical 60s thing, and they were like, no, we're talking 90s straight grunge. Yeah. And I was like, you guys get it better than I do. So thank you guys for that.
It was a very fun collage session.
Oh yeah, it was such a good
sort of putting like our 3 computers next to each other and trying to figure out, okay, what colors are we gonna use?
Right.
It was really fun.
Yeah. It's like color analysis, like when they do it on people, and you have to like see what's working together.
Yeah, like when they put you in the chair and they're like, "This color is not flattering on you. Actually, and I'll never wear it again." But yeah,
ChatGPT could do the color analysis thing, by the way, and I can send you a video later on how it works.
That's really funny. It's gonna make me so insecure if I do. So
I was devastated. It told me my color was mustard yellow, and I'm like, in what universe? Yeah. I don't think I've touched an article of color with that color on it.
That's so true.
But anyways, so Angie, you're the managing editor, basically. Yes. In that role for aspiring journalists, what are you looking for? And well, your submissions editor as well. So what are you guys looking for in these pieces that people submit to you?
Go ahead. Yeah, specifically, we'd love to see fresh takes on something. So not necessarily just like a list of artists that are based in South Florida or a list of bands that are based in Florida, but an opinion, a voice, something that makes readers be really interested in continuing to read work. That's at least what I look for whenever I read a piece.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with you on that. I also like to see like the writer's personality through that as well as like the passion behind what they're writing. So I get really excited to read pieces that are about things that they enjoy and things that they want to write about rather than, something that is assigned to them.
Okay, yeah. For sure. And you guys assign in the work process actual articles to people, like, oh, we have this show coming up and somebody has to write about this one, or is it?
Yeah, so depending on like what press passes we get and really like what's going on, I feel like our writers also independently do have like a really good sense of like what is going on in like the general music zeitgeist. Like on the website we have by Sophie an article talking about the UMG and TikTok split, and they like reached out to I forget who it was in the BOAs, but she got their perspective on like the whole split and stuff like that. So like the cultural moments, I think that they're pretty keen on picking up, but mostly like our thing is workshop based. We help them with what they do bring in, and really it's very lax in terms of like what topics they get to write about.
Yeah, we'll make suggestions or like, hey, this show is happening. Anybody want to cover? Who can go? Or if they have questions, they always are free to reach out to us.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we're also aware that like it is volunteer based as of now. So like we're very happy to have like contributions, and we're aware of like the gift it is and the privilege it is to receive someone's writing. So it's really great to see.
I think it's an exciting project, and that's why you have people lined up wanting to help out, and it's a great thing that you're doing. And aside from that, it's from what I'm reading, it's more lax too. It's not like, okay, I submitted an article and it's an APA format or AP format.
APA. Yeah. APA MLA Chicago.
God damn it.
Yeah.
No, not even APA, because that was like high school format. Yes. Like AP style journalism.
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, MLA has been so drilled into my brain that I cannot escape its dirty, grimy grasp. I can't. It's just there. I'm like, you forgot your little MLA citations. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter. It's fine.
I've never used MLA a day in my life.
So I would say English majors over here.
But we have the traditional AP style that is followed in journalism. That's not what we're looking for here. We're not looking for the blame.
Yeah,
we can write from first person. We can write about how we felt, our experiences from these.
Absolutely, and you can blend like elements of exposition and prose in with your writing.
Yeah, another one of our articles, it's called it's about mosh pits.
Oh, the anatomy
of a mosh pit. Thank you. And it starts with like this brilliant scene of like a first person POV, like you are taken into a mosh pit and you're bouncing off of other people, and then it ends with like such a beautiful line. It literally ends with "Congratulations, you survived your first mosh pit." Aww. And then she goes into like this incredible piece about like the history of the mosh pit and like some super common dance moves and like the anatomy of it, as well as like some of its like more problematic nature, which has like a lot of venues now ban mosh pits because it can be kind of dangerous. But it's like this great cohesive piece, and like it is very much not anywhere near the lines of like in 1983, the first person who ever actually did moshing, like, we're not submitting this as your thesis, you know, we're having fun and writing and, you know, writing about these scenes that historically, you know, have a lot of nuance and beauty and, like, are such an explosion of, like, big emotions and, like, are such a cathartic getaway for a lot of people, and just making sure that that's, like, an honored thing. Really.
Right.
And I feel like you can see it in the articles as well.
Yeah,
like,
there's so much passion
there's
and
so much
everything
passion.
about these articles.
Our staff writers, they're amazing.
They're so incredible. I love them all.
From a journalistic point of view, like, I'm so happy about this take because even in modern school, I mean, I just graduated a couple years ago, and you still get that drilled in traditional journalism vibe, and I absolutely love that this take is kind of creative writing, but journalistic. And I really do think that's the future of what journalism is going to be, because the world is completely different now, as you know, compared to what it was a couple of years ago. I still had like print professors that were like, why do you want to do broadcast? It's like, why do you think?
Yeah, this stuff is kind of important to talk about, maybe.
Yeah,
exactly.
And also, like, like, we've taken a lot of inspiration from, like, different punk cultures, so like 70s punk as well as like the 90s resurgence, and then a lot of that is zine style writing, right? And oftentimes in zines they do not rely on like this very classist academic frame of writing, you know. It's all just like, I want to show them this is what I thought, or this is something that I believe super strongly in, and that's something that we really wanted to facilitate going in here, because again, Erin and I, we have, you know, a literature background. Like, that's what we studied in college and stuff like that. So, like, we can do, again, like the APA style, whatever, you know, Chicago, whatever citations. But, like, this is where the real story is, because everybody loves talking about musicians and about up-and-coming musicians, but it's always about, like, what's your story? What's your deal? How far do you think you're going to get? Right. In this style, it's much more like, this is why I love this band. This is what they make me feel and what they bring out of me, right? Which I think just, you know, hands itself back to everything else we've been talking about.
It brings that
really.
Closeness between the writers and the reader, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a lot more relatable.
It is.
Yeah, and also I think it's also really cool to try to capture a lot of like smaller musicians like fade into history forever. And I think it's a really important thing to try to capture, you know, musical history of a place by the people who were there in the moment to experience it. And by having that perspective, I think is really cool. Like, I would have loved to know what someone, you know, 40 years ago going to a small local show felt and thought. And I think that we get that in our writing all the time, and it's amazing.
Little time capsules.
Yeah,
It's a little time capsule. And even, like, not even going as far back as 40 years ago. I used to go to local shows 10 years ago, and I can tell you it was completely different than what it is now. I think the scene as a unit has probably moved into being something a little bit more accepting, a little bit more kind. At least I want to say, like, as a kid, I, like, made no friends. I literally said this in my introduction post. I was like, I was scared to talk to people. Like, I was genuinely, like, just not making any friends there. I was going with a friend and then leaving with that same friend. So I love that you guys are creating these little time capsule moments, that it's something so creative, so relatable. What is the big picture for the Record Underground?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. Thank you so much for asking.
It's also a reminder, because we always forget what our big picture is. Like, somewhere in the middle of it, it's like, I'm making an Instagram post and I want to quit. I'm deleting the account.
No, for sure. No, I honestly have felt that, like, so strongly as of late. Like, not too long ago, we had, like, a little karaoke party with some of our staff writers and some of, like, our people and photographers as well. And that was, like, really a moment where I was like, wow, we are doing really good things. And it's not just about uploading things to a website. But I think, like, big picture thing is we want to just create a space where artists can uplift each other, and artists of all kinds, really. Obviously, we talk about the bands because that's who, you know, we want to give coverage to and stuff. But also, like, you know, it's so hard as a writer to get, like, a publishing credit anywhere, really. And especially if you're, like, an aspiring writer, getting publishing credits and, like, having your work be read by other people is an incredibly hard thing to do. And also, like, if you're a photographer, like, a lot of times, like, smaller photographers will really just be posting on, like, an online portfolio and their Instagram, right? And even then, like, you're not getting much traction. So it's really to help, you know, uplift these artists and, like, you know, get their, you know, careers going and things like that. But also, like, I would love for this to be, like, a physical event thing as well, like, where we can create, like, good third spaces where everyone feels safe and like where our community is also uplifted by like potentially having like some vendors there and like working with venues so that everybody gets like a fair deal and like a fair cut. Like really that's what it's all about. Like the community is already here, and that's something that I went into this project knowing. It's that we're all here, all of the pieces are here. It's just about like creating a way to make it equitable and accessible for everyone, as well as just fun and safe for people, right? Like to know that you can go out to a space and that is cool, where you're gonna have a good time and you're not like worrying about like, okay, how am I gonna get home? Or like, are the people here a little bit shady and stuff like that? So really it's just about making this like really, sorry. I feel like all of like my ability to like talk and be eloquent has just like completely left the room. But yeah,
supporting your community, uplifting writers, you know, we all love music, you know, we want to make sure that bands get love and the people that love bands can show that to them.
And find other people that also like the same bands and get to make friends. And
again, it's the whole community aspect. Like one of our writers, Alana, has a great article about like third spaces and like trying to find third spaces when they live in the suburbs and how inaccessible that can be. Because even like coffee shops, like you still have to pay money to go into and stuff like that, and to like access the space. But when you're in a fun space and you're just dancing around with a bunch of strangers listening to great times, you know, that's a way to meet other people and to just like get out of the dread of existence that we all like live in and stuff. So that's really like big picture stuff, I think.
No, and you're definitely taking steps in the right direction. I personally saw all the reactions from that you got to cover our anniversary show, which I was super thankful for.
Thank you for that opportunity as well.
It was beautiful seeing it in media. Like from an outside perspective, it's like, oh my god, wow, like I'm in media. Like that's how you feel for a second, first of all, and then just seeing all the fans' reactions to their part of the article where they were written about, and it was, you see how genuinely happy they are, no matter if it's the New York Times or something that's you know, it's a startup. It's recent, it's new, and it's gonna gain its traction. But right now, like they could just say, I was the OG in there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk scene phases because
I feel like yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm so excited to just yap away about this.
Okay, we're gonna start with Angie.
Angie, you go first.
Okay.
Go first now, Angie. Be fast.
Well, it's really fast. I unfortunately, in the midst of 2008, did not have a scene phase. I was so devoted to being a hipster that I was like, oh, no, I could never be emo or scene. God. And then
you were posting a lot of lyrics on Tumblr. I feel it.
Like it was, you know, very much indie sleaze. That was my moment as a child, obviously.
Yeah, this guy definitely listened to American authors.
And then when I got into high school, I was introduced to pop punk and emo and just scene, the MySpace scene music, and I was like, oh, I missed out. And I tried making up for it ever since.
Right, like we're still living it now.
Yes, to atone for my lack thereof.
Yeah. I also got into like the scene phase pretty late in life. Like relatively, like okay, and this is gonna be a wild take. I don't think I've mentioned this to you two either, but from like the age of like 10 years old to like 14, 15, I only listened to music on Pandora Pandora radio, and it would only be show tunes and like the Beatles or something. So like that was like my mindset. And then one of my friends in middle school was like, you should totally listen to Panic at the Disco. And I was like, this is gonna change my life, the course of my life as I know it. And then, so Panic at the Disco was the gateway, which I realize how that sounds.
But the thing is that the only Panic at the Disco that exists is that first album.
The first album.
Everything else just is not a thing. I mean, if you liked show tunes, then I can understand why you would like some of the other albums. But for me, it's just seeing that video of Lying is the Most Fun on MTV when I was like,
they aired that on MTV? No.
Oh, yeah. It was that and the Misery Business music video. Like, both of them just engraved into my mind. The goldfish head thing and then the chicken cutlets and Misery Business. Like, it just replays whenever I mention it. But yes, that first album, Panic album, from front to finish, it is a masterpiece. And then afterwards,
So good.
I don't know what happened.
Hey man, listen. But then of course I got into, like Panic was the gateway. And then I got into, Fall Out Boy, MCR, all these other bands immediately after. And then also, again, a little bit of an indie sleaze thing for me. Listened to a lot of Bleachers in my coming up. A lot of Bleachers. And so it's like a little bit all over the place at the moment in terms of like the actual listening. Got into MF Doom as well very recently.
What's that?
Oh.
MF Doom?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a really long conversation the moment this broadcast ends. I'm telling you. It's like the Buddha sitting under the tree. Enlightenment. That's what you're gonna receive. Anyway, Erin.
Yeah, I feel like I also kind of got into it a little bit later. Growing up, I was very much a 90s grunge kid. And so it kind of transitioned from listening to like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and straight into Green Day, and then from Green Day, pop punk.
Green Day.
Okay.
So it kind of went that way. And like middle school, early high school, I was deep into Blink-182 and that, then MCR and Panic and Good Charlotte and like all those classic pop punk bands, and then back to new wave, and I've been in a big 90s and 80s
Yeah, but
new
that's because
wave.
you also got like a really good musical come up in terms of your parents. Your
Yeah.
parents are so cool.
Yeah.
Shout out Erin's parents, by the way.
They definitely
I
shaped
love you
me
guys.
with the music taste for sure.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I got like top 40 radio, and then my oldest brother is like huge on like Metallica and Guns N' Roses and stuff. But I wasn't gonna listen to what my oldest brother was listening
Right.
to. He was
So
old.
true.
I had to discover that myself. Like, it was on the radio, but no, I had to discover it myself.
Right. No, like
Yeah.
I still don't listen to like Metallica or stuff like that. I just generally.
That's completely
not
fair.
my
A
vibe.
lot of those bands,
I can bump to a little Welcome to the Jungle from
Oh,
I
for
was
sure.
a Guitar Hero and stuff.
Yeah.
All the basics,
Oh, the
like
Guitar Hero.
I'm there.
God.
I just sound like a
music
boomer.
taste is just Guitar Hero soundtrack.
Oh, the guitar.
Basically.
And then Tony Hawk.
and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
I have two really funny anecdotes regarding this. Number one, once my brother said I looked like a background Guitar Hero character, and I was just like, that's one of the best, worst things you could have said to me ever. And then just the other day, me and my brother were like on our way to pick up a pizza, right? And I'm the driver, right? So I was getting in the driver's side, and I was going, German, I've been ever heard of, the Panic at the Disco song.
course.
And he looked me in the eye, and he was like, Juana, how long are you gonna keep doing that? And I was like, well, Manu, it's been 10 years. At this point, I don't know what to tell you. I had to look this teenage boy in the eyes and tell him, unironically, that it was not a phase, and that it probably wasn't going to end.
It's
And
not
if he didn't figure that out by then, I don't know what to tell him.
After that first one where he said that you're a background character, it's like, and from that moment on was my journey to become a front character.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
You
the
know
only
what?
thing it's gonna make me do. Like now I have to be the one that's you choose
Now you
to
have
play
to be
me.
the player character.
Yeah, exactly.
The main character, as TikTok philosophers would
Oh,
argue.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, now you were looking for that main character energy.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely. I always pick that Skeletor looking guy.
Me too.
Oh my god.
But anyways, and then the second part where you're talking about it not being a phase, and I think there's just something very special about this type of music and seeing that resonates with us, that it's a safe place, it's a comfort zone, it's something that makes you feel good, or it helps you out of whatever. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I get down to my reggaeton, I get down to my Latin urban music, but then sometimes I'm feeling a lot of stuff and it's like, oh no, I gotta listen to like Man Overboard again, like hold on.
Yeah.
So and it's just a beautiful quality of this music and then of this scene, and the fact that around here, like any night that you're having a bad night, there's a show going on and you can go out there and there's gonna be somebody nice out there. Like I think, and you guys are just highlighting all that, and it's super special that it gets a public eye, because it doesn't for the most part.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
I'm literally like, oh.
I mean, I went to school for journalism, and I have a massive respect for journalists. And I think a lot of the dinosaurs that were, oh my god, I just said that out loud. The professors that were dinosaurs. Except for Dan Evans. Dan Evans, I love you.
You know what?
You're so real for that. Yeah.
You're so real for that.
It's just people that when you talk to them, yes, I respect you. You had a fantastic career at the New York Times in the 80s.
Yeah.
The world changed from 5 years ago to now. Like, massively. And then even more massively from the 80s to now. So I have a massive respect for journalism because it's a labor of love. It doesn't get the financial compensation that it should be getting.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. That was a long
Yeah, we're gonna
soapbox.
sit with that.
Yeah, and I also think that now journalism is moving towards more of like a person-based. Like people don't, like I think with the rise of like TikTok, social media, infotainment, all these buzzwords I'm gonna throw out right now. People want
put them
to hear
as tags so
yeah.
you can find them in the video.
People really want to see like a person.
Yeah.
They want to know like not just an institution recommends something, but like Juana Moya likes this band and here's why.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really cool. I'm not sure what that means for the future of journalism, but I think it's a really fascinating way, and I think it gives a much more like personal aspect that I think is really cool to know and find out.
I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely humanizing it.
Yeah.
That it's not just some big, I don't know,
Mega corporation.
telling me to go look
bunch
at
of CEOs.
something. Exactly. How many times do we listen to influencers and we get influenced over some dumb shit?
Yeah, we are not immune to influencing by any means. But I really do think, you know, a lot of our mission has to do with what you were saying, Angie, that it's like, you know, and I think I wrote about this in like the mission statement for the magazine, but like currently in just music, generally speaking, we are so over flooded with every single possibility ever. So it becomes that thing of like opportunity, like paralysis or something. There's like an actual term for it.
Decision paralysis.
Yeah, decision-making paralysis, where it's like you want to find new music, but you don't really know where to start looking. And I face that a lot because I listen to a lot of music, so I get bored of a lot of stuff pretty quickly. So like knowing that you can like just go out and like find your next favorite band just somewhere like at a pub that they're playing at, or like in the Sandbox, which is like at the back of a little dive bar. You know, like you could find the next people that you want to follow and that you could find out about and like actually become like cool with, right? Because like, and again, it's all like person-based stories. That's why we love artists in the first place, right? But then there comes a time where it's like, hey man, I know that you've been through the old machine. I know that you've been drinking the Kool-Aid. Let's bring back some of that authenticity that we were here for.
Yeah.
Right? And you can find that so easy just by going outside and touching some grass, frankly. But yeah, you know, like you can find people so easy. It's just a matter of giving them the spot to do it.
Right. And when it comes to finding new music, I'm happy to inform you that Pandora still exists.
Pandora still does exist.
I personally do not use it, but my boyfriend listens to Pandora strictly.
Can I say how shocking? Can I say how shocking it is for me to hear that Pandora still exists? Like I just had assumed that it wasn't around anymore.
And it knows this whole thing that where your phone like listens to you, because Olivia Rodrigo just released Guts Spilled.
Yeah.
And I was like super excited about it. So I asked my boyfriend, I was like, "Do you listen to it yet?" He's like, "No, not yet." And I was like, "You're a fake fan." He's like, "I just got in the car and Obsessed came on immediately."
Wow.
And I'm like, it knows. Pandora knows.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So you know how we usually do like relationship Reddit posts, right?
Oh man.
Oh my god,
You're not
I was
gonna get
so
that.
curious. I was so curious about what this aspect of the pod was gonna be like.
We're trying something new with you guys,
Oh.
and here I got a list of icks, basically.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
time for some nuance.
And I wanted to get physical flags for this, but for now we're just gonna have to say it.
Okay.
You have to tell me if you think it's a green flag, a beige flag, or a red
Can
flag.
I do like the incredibly loud, like incorrect button noise if it's a red flag? Can I just go wrong and then pull a lever and like have whoever wrote that just like fall into a thing of like alligators, like hungry alligators that haven't eaten in days?
I don't think we have the budget, but we can
Oh,
make
okay,
it work.
okay. Hey man,
We can put it in post.
you've
Yeah.
made everything work before. We can put it in post. We'll put the.
We'll do it in post.
post.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing happens in post aside from like a lower third.
Let's get some
Okay.
of those really bad graphics.
Okay. They talk in a baby voice.
Oh, that's a red flag.
You gotta pull the lever on that
Because
one.
okay, because like talking about this in like a heterosexual context, it's like, why I imagine the man in a heterosexual relationship would be talking like this, and it's the girlfriend's already mothering you enough. You don't need any. What is this?
Like
This is just crazy.
anti-infantilization.
We're anti-infantilization.
Okay.
Because that's gross.
So red flag for
Red
sure.
flag, big time.
They refer to themselves as an influencer.
Depends.
Like, because if you are, like, if you're like
Wait,
Alex
fine.
Earl and you tell me I'm an influencer, I'm like, you are, I
Yeah.
guess.
I would say
I think it's
beige
a
on
beige.
that.
It's a beige
flag.
It depends on the person.
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
but if you have like 200 followers,
yeah.
Oh, for sure.
and
for
you just
sure.
say not like, oh, I'm working towards it, I want to be one, but
Right.
you're like,
But also confidence.
true.
Yeah,
Because
like
you
how-
can't influence those 200
yeah,
people.
I think it is like
We're being
I think
influenced
it-
right now.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how you carry yourself when you say it.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, I'm an influencer, that's obviously gonna be a problem. But if you're like a little bit
Like,
shameful
I'm an
about it,
influencer,
right.
like if you're a little bit ashamed about it, I think that's a green flag actually.
Yeah.
And it also depends on
I'm
like
gonna
if
go
it is
beige.
your job.
Or context, like if you just have to mention it in every conversation, it's like, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
beige flag.
It's like people who studied abroad.
Right.
I studied abroad, by the way.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Did
I
you
went to-
really?
I went to England,
That's
actually.
right.
That's so
Wow.
crazy. Anyways.
Okay. They wear too much fake tan.
Ooh, in Miami?
Like purposeful, or was it like an unfortunate accident?
Oh, like
Yeah.
a bit in like a sitcom,
Yes.
I think it has to
like
be a
Big Fat
constant
Liar
thing.
sort of moment.
like a George Costanza-esque moment.
Would that be like a deal breaker though?
I think it's a learning experience. And for
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna say it's a beige flag.
I'm
It's
gonna
a
say
beige
beige.
flag.
Yeah.
But if this keeps being like a repeated issue, then that becomes like a personal thing, not a tan
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it happens.
Yeah. Look within yourself. Tan the inside of your heart.
Tan the inside is that not just what self-help is?
Yeah.
Letting your little heart bask in the light of the sun.
Oh God.
Little bikini's hand.
That's the literature degree
Yes.
popping out.
Now my heart has a thong tan.
Somebody make that an album cover right now.
So good.
Bad Bunny. I feel like a Bad Bunny
Yeah.
album cover.
They check their phone on a date.
I think if it's like a repeated thing, because I, as a person, like I strive to not pick up my phone when I'm with other people.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having like, if it's like my mom or dad calling me and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I gotta take this.
Right.
Absolutely. But if it's like,
On
God,
a
if
If
you're
you're
like,
sitting on
if
your
you're
phone.
scrolling
Oh,
on
it's
Instagram
scrolling.
with
That's-
somebody,
yeah,
for
don't
sure, red flag, because
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
If
you
you're
sure
just
don't value
checking
my
in, like,
time.
something
Yeah.
buzzes, you'd be like, hey, because I know
Yeah,
I get a lot of emails.
Oh, for
and
sure,
stuff.
yeah.
Like if it buzzes and
Yeah.
it's your mom and you answer it, green
Yeah.
flag. But if you're
Yeah.
like on Instagram and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
No,
don't be
That's
so-
like on a date and you're not even looking at them.
Yeah.
Oh, for
That's
sure.
That's weird.
Or like going on a date with iPad babies.
Oh man.
Like if you pull out, like if you're on a date and you pull out your phone to watch something,
No.
exiting the building. I'm sorry.
No, I could never.
Come on, touch grass. Let's go outside a little bit.
The last one is they overshare on social media.
Oh.
I'm gonna say it's a
no.
green flag because I do it myself.
Oh, I can't.
Green flag.
Are they
Okay,
oversharing
yeah.
about themselves or like
Yeah,
me?
yeah. No, they're
Oh,
oversharing
like
about
they're
themselves.
gossiping. or
Oh,
something?
yeah. Or like, no, I feel like,
Like-
you'll be roped in.
Yeah.
That's triangulation.
I talk
That's
a lot, so
another
they're
relationship.
gonna hear a lot of what I have to say, and then that's gonna end up them
Oh.
oversharing about me.
This is like back in the day in like early YouTube when they would have like the videos where it was like, this person said something about me, I'm gonna diss them back. And then
Yeah.
it's like the diss track to the diss track. And then like you have to sit down and have to like in like those apology style videos where you're like, guys, in front of my salad or something.
But hey, at least they're talking
Yeah.
like
At my
emotions.
birthday party. At my birthday party. You know what I'm referencing. The
No.
oh my
Oh,
god.
yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's
It's
the
by sister.
the
meme
bi
video.
sister meme video.
I think
Anyways,
I don't know.
stay
I
over that.
also like remember very vividly like whenever people in like the dawn of social media would post like a black picture.
oh my god.
And then like a black and white caption. It's like, don't text,
Or like
don't call.
Going
on
through
Snapchat. On
Yeah, or
Snapchat,
it's like
the
they put
real
a song.
ones.
Yeah.
Or like they put a song
Yeah,
and they're like
I feel
really
attacked.
relating. Which I'm like, of course I'm like, oh my god, but then I will obviously Google the song lyrics and be
Yeah.
like, what is this? What is happening to this person
Right,
I've spoken
right.
to like 4 times? Like, what's going on in their mind?
the image of a window that's black and
Yeah.
white with like rain.
Oh my
and
God.
Just like
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think if you like, if you overshare tastefully, I think that's chill.
yeah.
I think that's chill if you do it
You
like.
could get a blog.
But also, like, if you're using social media as your oversharing crutch, you know, like, hey man, let's maybe do some journaling.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
But maybe that is.
let's maybe go outside
That is
and
our
meditate
journal.
a little
That's
bit.
journaling. Now, is this the person that calls themselves the influencer?
That's where
Is this
Is the influencer oversharing?
Is this a baby voice tanning?
oversharing influencer. You just made the most giant red flag.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's
There
a Venn
is.
diagram. There's a Venn diagram of people, and they're all in the overlapping spots. But I'm sure that there's one person
Right
in
in
the
the center.
very middle,
very
who
attached at
is
this
like
moment.
the walking red flag, and we'll see it because they tan so much.
Oh, obviously.
So,
All right, guys, this is your
Essentially.
shameless plug moment. Go ahead and let that camera know everything they need to know about the Record Underground.
all right. So follow us on @Record Underground Instagram. That's record.underground on the Instagram. You can check out our website. We update every 2 weeks with new content. So that's new photography, new photo sets, new writing, all that fun stuff. Instagram, you can submit to us. We have submissions open all year round. We are never not accepting submissions. And like invite us to your shows, you know, like we want to be out there. We want to be reporting. It's fantastic. We love getting to know you guys. Should we do like personal shameless self plugs? Is that allowed?
Go for it.
I don't know. Do we
Yeah,
want
this
to?
is it.
You know what? If you want to find us, find us.
Yeah,
We're there.
so smoke
Alright.
signals, you'll know.
You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know. Hey, if we want you to know, you'll know.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
I
for
admire
having
what
us.
you're doing. I'm here to support you guys every step of the way as well.
Thank
And you guys make sure to follow the Record Underground, follow the Senior Citizen Podcast, and we will see each other next week.